last 12 months, the Best Of series. Even if you've already heard an episode, you will have changed and grown, expanded your thinking since it was first released. And the things you missed back then might even catch your attention this time around. And I know that's so true because every time I go back and reread a book or rewatch a video or re-listen to a podcast, I'm kind of mind blown by the things that just I didn't even notice or hear last time round. And we kicked off 5 weeks ago with episode number 1. Yep, the very first one where I share my story that I kept secret for 20 plus years, and it was the thing that held everything I did or I tried hostage. So make sure if you haven't listened to that one, you go back and give it a listen. So maybe you're here because something in your life or your business just isn't working for you. Maybe you're in survival mode, just barely getting by, living paycheck to paycheck. Maybe you're in a job or a career or a business that's leaving you empty, depleted, uninspired, not making the revenue you think you should be able to. Or maybe you're starting a new exciting thing and you're already struggling to make a move forward. I've got your back. See, even I'm flawed. If you're a brand new listener or one of our longtime fans, we're excited to have you here. Got your favorite drink ready? You got your earbuds in, nestled in a quiet spot? I heard some yeses. So buckle up, take that deep breath, and join me in a conversation about jumpstarting your life and breaking free of your shackles and create the life and the business that you really want. Welcome to the 5th of 7 episodes in our Best Of Series 2021. You're listening to the Unshackle Your Life podcast with Debbie Colburn, and each week we talk all things money, business, personal growth, and we dive deep, exploring the hundreds of things that shackle us unconsciously from our own true potential. And you'll discover tips and tactics to start unlocking your shackles and release an extraordinary life. Thanks for spending time with me today, and let's dive right in. I'm once again pinching myself to remind me that this is real, that I made it through. And making it through has not been easy. It's been like hiking on a mountain slope with no trees and hoping that with each step you don't trigger a rock slide, like walking on eggshells all the time. It's the ever-present fear of being found out, of that skeleton in your closet, the thing you worked so hard to hide. But for most of us, it's not us we're protecting. We are not hiding from our bad decisions or choices for us. We are hiding them to protect our families, those closest to us, moms and dads and brothers and sisters and kids and partners, because they didn't do anything wrong. But they will get judged. Their lives will forever be changed. I hid my fraud to protect my parents. My mother lives and breathes on what people think of her, and I bought into that. My dad simply couldn't fathom what I had done, yet he was the one who helped me regain my life. People tell you all the time that most people are not even thinking about you, but in your mind, they are all the time. I decided that I'd talk to you this week about fear because it is the driver behind my actions since I was found out. I knew I was lost, and I knew I was scared. But what is funny looking back is that I really didn't know how scared I really was, because for 20 years I lived in fight or flight mode, running or lashing out were my solutions to everything. And if they didn't work, I hid, as you'll hear about in a future episode. I was desperately afraid that anyone, would find out what I had done, about how I stole from the company I worked for as their trusted corporate controller, the voice of reason, the captain of the ship, the face of their future. I defrauded them. For the life of me, I don't even remember how I told my parents or what I said that induced them to help me. All I knew is that unlike my former employer and their lawyers, they probably wouldn't throw me in jail if I was a little late paying them back. And don't get me wrong, jail would not have been unwarranted for my fraud. But they helped. They sat with me in the lawyer's office over and over. They talked between themselves, and I know it was my mom who saved me, not my dad, who, while I understand he does love me, sees himself as a role model for financial success, his version of financial freedom. He would have let me hang for it, and to be truly honest with you, there are times that I wish he had. Maybe I'd have figured out my Achilles heel sooner. I lost me. I lost my house, sold at a loss, I lost my job, I lost my profession, and for the only time in my life, I slid into a deep sadness. My usual high self-confidence shattered. This is how I felt, how truly lost I was at the time. The light is green. I hear the click as it turns yellow, and I count the seconds till it turns red. The cars stop. People rush past me. I can feel them. I can feel their eyes. I can hear their mutterings. A bag hits me, the owner oblivious to the nick on my arm. The beeping stops. I hear tires crunch on the road, engines shifting gears as they pull away. Green, yellow, red. The cars stop again and again and again. People rush past me. I am frozen to the spot. I am invisible. Why does no one see me? What if the cars really aren't stopped? What if I really don't know? I've crossed thousands of intersections in my life. How can I not know? He reaches for my arm. It's okay, we can cross. We can make it to the other side in time. How did I do this to myself? How can one event in life strip self-confidence away like a Band-Aid ripped off an open wound? It was almost easy for the first couple of months. The quiet, no horrific dreams, no demands, just being alone. I biked 10 to 20 miles every day, and for some reason, when chaos and fear and loss hit me, I hit physical activity. My bike, the gyms or the trails, the mountains. And those moments become my inspiration, my catalyst to get me into my best possible shape, to find my clear thinking again. Not such a bad thing, right? And then reality hit. I'm 37, living with my parents, being told what I'm allowed to do and what I'm not. My own personal jail, with my 2 small children, one sleeping with me and one sleeping in a tiny room built in a damp basement where the focus feature of the room is the large main septic poop pipe running the full length of the wall. I knew I couldn't go back into accounting, so I made a decision to go back to a dream I had, to go into the travel industry. See, I never set out to be an accountant. Me, the lover of being outside, the person for whom variety and uncertainty are my number one personal value? What a boring life. Accountant. I'd spent a couple of years at university to be a veterinarian until a boyfriend and an unplanned future derailed that. And even back then, I can see I didn't have my hand on the rudder of my own life. Can you guess why they got derailed? Yeah, we never had any money, even though we both worked. And that's a key point to remember in my story, and one we'll explore in depth in future episodes. So college was my solution. Take what you can get. Ignore what you really want that might be harder to get, but better for you. And so the travel program drew me in, only to be turned away as one of the 300 applicants for 30 spaces. Throughout my life, though, I have started to see a pattern of being 1 or 2 seasons or years ahead of when something becomes popular or accessible. And I've learned that that's a good thing, but that you need to run with it, fast. And so I settled for leftovers, the story of my life. Business administration, functional, useful, with 5 areas to specialize in. Now remember, I wanted to be in travel, not in an office. And my brain did an interesting analysis of my options. General, now that's a big waste of time and effort. Management, that means telling people what to do. Now remember, at this time, I was only just in my late 20s. Data processing, yeah, I'm over 60, and that's what they used to call computer science and IT. And yuck, that's for nerds. Sorry, all my nerd friends. And marketing, that means selling. Nope, never gonna happen. And accounting, well, how bad could that possibly be? 9 to 5, Monday to Friday. Who was I kidding? How little I actually knew. Y'all know what I chose, right? And I was really good at it. And I love numbers and their story because numbers always tell a story and stories are my thing. But what is most interesting is that those I ruled out, even the yucky marketing, those are all key parts of my business today. And in fact, I spend more than 85% of my time wearing my marketing hat. We know so little about ourselves for so long, and it takes intention and focus and goals to bring out our best, even if it means we have to bring out the worst first. And that's not always a bad thing, or a total showstopper, unless you let it be. So today, after fighting through fear and leaving my past life behind, leaving almost 15 years of finance behind, I'm embarking on a travel career. Did I tell you that I had always wanted to be a flight attendant? I'm sitting here on my stool in a prime agency, courtesy of a family connection, and it was drama and tiny conflicts every single day, being told what to do and how to do it, and being talked down to, being treated like I was stupid. And I could do nothing. This was my self-imposed sentence. That's the message my subconscious told myself every day for years. I graduated from my specialized 1 year of travel industry training in the top 3 of my class with an average of 95%. And here I was making $13,000 a year, a third of what I made as an accountant. Brutally unhappy, putting on a fake smile, being told off every time a customer walked in and asked to work with me instead of with one of the 2 more experienced women. Living a shackled life like a caged lion, desperately seeking my freedom, yet stuck in my own self-made prison. But I learned that industry inside out. And whether I knew it or I just felt it, what I learned in my time in the travel industry has been pivotal in my life, both personally and in business. I didn't know what to do, but I knew I had to get free of these chains. At around 1 million residents, the city that I lived in could well be considered small. It was a place where someone always knew someone. Just like my little village growing up, when 8 families shared a phone line, what was called a party line, for obvious reasons. And old Aggie Burke always knew what you were going to do before you even did it, and told everybody. Accounting and bookkeeping firms weren't on every corner and everywhere online like they are today. They were cliquey, old boys clubs. They weren't even allowed to advertise, if you can imagine that. Someone always knew someone at one of the firms. Now, I guess I should tell you first, the company I stole from was a former client of mine who hired me away from that Big 5 firm, one of the world's Big 5, where I worked for 7 years until there was quite literally nowhere left for me to promote to. I'd even worked with their forensic auditors on a police murder case, tracing the money. So kind of ironic that now it's my money that's being traced. Now, any company, big or small, that I might get get hired or contracted by was likely to have a connection to someone who might know my story. But here's the thing. So often it's always in our head. There was no press. The people the company brought in when they decided something was not right were not from the big five company it came from. Only a handful of people knew, and most, not all, were bound by client-lawyer privilege. But I was afraid. I was desperately afraid. I changed my name, and I bravely ventured back to accounting, my comfort zone. Armor up, swords ready, armed with new knowledges, new experiences, and a whole new outlook. But I was always expecting to be found out. And to this day, if you ask me, I honestly don't know why I returned to accounting. There was a 3-year gap in my resume that I needed to fill, and so I lied. I created a story about my son who's dyslexic, who struggled in school. I created a story about how I gave up my career to focus on helping him. And in some ways, it was 100% true. He is dyslexic, and he really, really struggled in school. But at most, it was just a convenient story. Now, my unique ability, we all have one, is my memory. My ability to discover, learn, and remember information and resources, including minute details, and recall it on demand even years and years later, connecting that resource, a person, a thing, or an event, to someone who needs it right now through the power of story. Imagine not being free to even use your superpower. So more times than I can count, I was asked, who should we use to help us with the new project or improve something? And I had an incredibly long list of contacts, great people, great qualified resources, and I cherry-picked my recommendations based on risk of exposure to me. I shortchanged everyone, including myself. I specialized in small and medium-sized privately owned businesses. You know, the ones from $250,000 to $5 to $10 million a year in revenues in as many niches and industries as I could. Building knowledge. I built processes and systems and policies, and I advised on building and growing while protecting their assets from someone like the old me. Yet, despite a burning desire inside me, I believed it was unsafe for me to explain how I knew what I knew. I even joined the Association of Fraud Examiners to learn more. I just kept hiding. I read and studied every book I could on money laundering. I reveled for hours at the Mob Museum in Las Vegas, reading stories in hopes of finding an answer to the burning question, why? For more than 10 years, I worked contract after contract with companies being bought and being sold and even downsized and bankrupted. And each change in management brought new fear. Who would I next be working with? I built a great set of great references based on my work and my commitment and my focus on integrity and honesty. But I believed that it would only take one person to collapse my life again. So at 55, almost 20 years after that fateful day, I leapt for good, away from corporate life, away from accounting and finance forever. Not because I was scared of being found out. That had become part of my life, but because I was tired. I was tired of being shackled, tired of being less than I knew was possible for me, tired of paying the price for playing small, bowing to owners and companies whose values weren't even close to mine. And I leapt with everything I had and didn't have into my belief that I could figure it out, that I could figure out what it would take for me to reach my own personal definition of success and be happy at every step along the way. And I, along with my amazing team of volunteers and 5 close friends, launched and hosted the 2009 Canadian National Championships for Dog Agility, the largest ever at the time, of over 1,000 entrants from all over North America. From my 17-foot trailer, with no running water, a porta potty for a toilet, and a generator for power, I stepped into a new season of my life, leaving the fear behind, or so I thought, into the life of a full-time entrepreneur. So every episode, starting with today, I'll ask you one thing, and you'll leave it untouched until that one day you can no longer ignore it. What is the worst thing that could happen if you unlock just one of your shackles today? Hey guys, if you found this podcast helpful and think it could help someone else, please send them the link. It's in the show notes, and then drop a review in wherever you're listening. And then come on back and hang with us some more. Let us help you keep moving forward. We're simple to find on the interwebs. MS Debbie Colburn, that's MS Debbie with an IE, Colburn with an OUR squished between the B and the N, on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, and yes, on our website. See y'all next episode.